interview with Trevor Reed, the ex-Marine who spent nearly 3 years in a Russian prison, is now speaking out after his release in exchange for a Russian serving time here in the U.S. Our Patrick Reevell, who's been covering this case for us since the beginning, recently caught up with Reed and his family about life after the prisoner swap.
It's amazing to see you here.
After 985 days imprisoned by Russia, Trevor Reed is finally free.
I remember thinking, like, is this real? You know, you're thinking, maybe this is not happening. Maybe I'm still going to wake up right now in solitary confinement.
This is the first time that we've sat across from each other and been talking where we're not looking through the bars of a cage.
Yep.
Earlier this month, the 30-year-old former Marine freed in a dramatic prisoner exchange between Russia and the US, traded for a Russian convicted in the US on drug smuggling charges a decade ago. The trade taking place on a runway, recalling a Cold War spy swap.
I remember looking at him and he, looked over at me, and I think both of us probably had that same feeling, that same thought of, like, that's what that guy looks like.
Reed was a presidential Marine who once guarded President Obama, but his nightmare began in summer 2019 while visiting his girlfriend in Moscow. After a drunken party, Reed fell into the hands of Russian police, who charged him with attacking an officer. In reality, he and US officials say the case was fabricated by Russia's security services to take Reed as a bargaining chip.
I asked, one of those officers, I said, why are you guys doing this? Why did you write this, false, accusation against me? And he looked around at the door to make sure that there was no one there. And he looked at the other police officer and he said, we didn't want to write this. They told us to write this.
Sentenced to 9 years prison, Reed was sent to a forced labor camp. Subjected to harsh treatment, placed repeatedly in solitary confinement, he went on multiple hunger strikes, refusing to work for his captors.
I decided right away that I was never going to be part of that process. They were not going to make 1 ruble off of me. And whatever punishment I received for that, it was worth it to me. I didn't care. The prison in general is extremely dirty. It's dilapidated. There's rats. It looks like something out of a film that you watch about, prisons, 1,000 years ago. That's really what it looks like. I mean, everything there is just ancient. As well, apparently, as the court system, as the judicial system. It's cold there. There's just a hot water pipe, basically, that you have to use to stay warm. If you lay down while you're in there, they will extend your time in solitary confinement.
I mean, that must have been hard psychologically to be in solitary confinement.
I mean, it was difficult, but, I wasn't going to let that change my actions. That was pretty terrible. Blood on the walls, there's crap all over the floor, also on the walls. The guards there really treat those prisoners like animals. The medical personnel there as well, just completely unprofessional.
Were you afraid that you might be kept there indefinitely?
Yeah, absolutely was afraid of that. I thought that maybe they had sent me there to chemically disable me. Give me sedatives or whatever and make me unable to fight.
Turn you into a vegetable, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was afraid of, and that was one of my biggest fears the whole time that I was in prison.
But Reed's family never giving up. His father, Joey, spending over a year alone in Russia, repeatedly demonstrating outside the White House.
Do you remember the first thing you said to Trevor?
I said, I love you. I'm so glad you're home. Gave him a kiss and a hug. A long, long hug.
Reed first undergoing intensive counseling on a military base in Texas, but last week discharged.
Now he's got us all day long again, so which we're loving. I'm sure
he may need a break soon.
Yeah, he's like, oh my God, put me back in prison. I don't know. But,
how are you finding adjusting to life at the moment?
Just being free. It feels different. Been trying to get used to being free again. It's like kind of having this huge weight lifted off of you.
But Reed himself can't stop thinking about another ex-Marine left behind in Russia. Paul Whelan, held hostage there for 3.5 years on trumped-up espionage charges.
I thought when I found out that it was an exchange that was happening, that they had probably exchanged Paul Whelan as well.
What did you think when you heard that Paul wasn't coming home?
I thought that that was wrong, that they got me out and not Paul. And I knew that that as soon as I was able to, that I would fight for him to get out, and that I would do everything I could to get him out of there. The United States got me out, but they left him there. I can't describe to you how painful that feeling is.
Reed now determined to help get Whelan out. And Brittany Griner, the WNBA star held in Moscow since February on drug charges and who the State Department considers wrongfully detained. Russia has floated the notorious arms dealer Victor Bout as a possible trade for Whelan or Griner, or both. Reed in no doubt whether that should happen.
Absolutely, yeah. Victor Bout has already been in prison for 15 years. If that's for Victor Bout, I don't care. I don't care if it's 100 Victor Bouts. They have to get our guys out.
And Patrick Reevell joins us now here on set. And Patrick, our team's also caught up with the man who Trevor was swapped out for. What did he have to say?
Yeah, Konstantin Yaroshenko, the Russian man who was traded for Trevor, he was sentenced in 2011 on drug smuggling charges. He was basically caught in a DEA sting. And he is very happy to be free, but he is also angry. He basically has never accepted that he was guilty. He never felt that the DEA should have taken him. He felt that he'd been entrapped. And so he basically was accusing the DEA of fabricating his case. But at the same time, he said he was glad that Trevor was free, and he said he wanted more people to be traded.
And beyond just your sit-down interview, the formality of that with Trevor, what did you observe with him, with your time with him, as far as his health and his spirit in general?
I would say that under the circumstances, he looks like he's starting to recover. He has color in his cheeks. But, I mean, one of the things we spotted was he was wearing sunglasses all the time. And he explained that that was because he's not used to having the sunlight, and that the Florida sunlight was actually making his eyes hurt because he's so used to being in these dark, dank prisons in Russia that he simply can't really bear it at the moment. But overall, he was in pretty good spirits as it goes. He was, he smiled, he laughed. And, you could see that he wants now to start trying to work out how do you go back to normal life.
Good to hear that. Thank you so much, Patrick, for all of your reporting from the very beginning on Trevor Reed. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Lindsay.
And be sure to catch our in-depth special 985 Days, the Trevor Reed interview. It debuts at 8:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific, right here on ABC News Live.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.